Do you have lots of cranberries left over from your cranberry sauce? I know I do. So, way to combat that is gonna be cranberry orange bread. It's definitely one of my favorite things to make, and I have not made it in a very long time. And this time I'm gonna make it from scratch. I only made half a portion of the cranberry sauce that I normally make because I actually wanted to make cranberry orange bread, secretly hoping that I would be able to find time to do it, / not have the pumpkin pie in the fridge for too long, because that was a big honkin' pie I made. So today what we're gonna be doing on Sweetly Savory is making some cranberry orange bread from scratch, but not just any old version. We're gonna make it gluten-free because I'm gonna show you how I make my oat flour. It's super simple. You're really gonna like it. It's way easier than going to the store and buying oat flour, which can be like $5 or $7 a pop for a bag. We're gonna do that today here on Sweetly Savory. So we're just gonna get it set up here with our food processor. Now you see me use this a bunch of times, but I don't recall if I've done oat flour in this before. Maybe I have. You know what? I think I did. It was the banana bread. The banana oatmeal bread. Right on. So, maybe I have. You know what? That's okay. I forget things. I'm human. Well, I'm still going to show you again, but this time it's going to be in a bread as opposed to muffins or the carrot cake oatmeal bread. We'll just do it a different way for a different bread. How's that sound? I think that sounds pretty darn good. So we're going to take our 2 cups of oats, and that's all it is. Ta-da! That's all it is. That's so simple. And I still have all of these regular oats that I can just use for anything else that I want to use, that I want to make. I made oatmeal this morning. I'm gonna make my oatmeal bread on Sunday for prepping for the week. So I've got plenty of oats still to do whatever I want with. Let's go ahead and gather the rest of our ingredients, and I'll be back in just a hot sec. So first and foremost, what you're gonna need is a bowl, and I almost forgot to get a bowl from my cupboard, so you need a bowl. We're gonna need clearly our cranberries and our orange, because I mean that's what the whole bread is called, is cranberry orange bread. If you don't have that, you should probably go get some. Other baking things are baking powder and baking soda. So you're gonna be using both of these for some rise in your bread. I know that a lot of my recipes usually call for the baking powder, and I wrote down baking powder and soda. So those are what we're gonna need, because they both do sciencey bread leavening things, magic, science. And we're gonna need a 1/4 cup of butter. So that's 4 tablespoons, and you can measure that out on the bottom of your stick. Evan didn't know that. You can use this as your guide, and that's how you measure how much butter you need. I don't know what he was doing the whole rest of his life. Don't ask me. This is normally gonna need a little bit of salt just to make those flavors pop, and it's gonna be table salt that I would use for this. And I might leave it out just because this butter is salted for the rare occasion that we didn't have any unsalted butter. I might put like a little bit of salt in. Typically this recipe would call for like 3/4 of a teaspoon. I think I'm just literally gonna put a pinch in because this is salted butter. And I always do recommend using unsalted butter for your baking so that you can monitor how much salt you're gonna put into your recipe. But in this instance, that's the only butter that I've got, so we're gonna go with it. And 1 egg beaten. So we'll go ahead and beat this up separately. And I always want to put my egg in separately so that I don't get any shells in my cooking. So let's go ahead and get everything started into our bowl. We'll turn a light on or fix the lighting because it's kind of dark in here. Look at that, magic. So let's go ahead and put our flour in. So I would guess another added benefit other than your oat flour being gluten-free would be that it's gonna have a little bit of extra fiber to it or nutrients. So I guess that would be another reason to use oat flour in your baking, but it's a great option for if you're gluten-free instead of getting like gluten-free AP flour, because those are available. Those can be kind of pricey. So I like to go the oat flour route just because I've always got some of this stuff on hand. I'm gonna zest my orange up before I get some juice out of it. Unfortunately, my microplane did not yield very good results for my orange zest. I only got about maybe half a teaspoon at best. It'll work, but it's maybe you want to get one of those like the flat kind where you can kind of rub it, like rub the zest back up or something so that you can get more like on both sides and you're not fighting with this triangular contraption. But that's just the type that I have. That's our cheese grater. It's like a cheese grater, all sorts of sides. I'm gonna go ahead and slice open my orange here and just use a steak knife. And I wish I could use a juicer for this, but you know, it's a lot easier to do after you zest because you're not fighting with that pith. This might be enough OJ for us. There we are. Ooh. Okie dokie, artichoke. We got our orange juice. I'm just gonna go ahead and plop that in. And let's get our egg beaten. Ah! I'm wondering. I do that a lot. I wonder, and I second guess. Ponder this over a scrambled egg. The butter. I'm thinking vegetable oil instead of the butter. It would be 1/4 cup. Well, let's start to bring this together. So once you've scrambled your egg, or beaten, scrambled. Go ahead and add that to your flour and your OJ mixture. It already smells bright and citrusy. I think I am going to skip the butter and go for oil. Just because it makes more sense to me. Like butter, but oil. So I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of oil. Vegetable variety. And it's okay that you're using the same measuring cup because it's all going in with the egg and OJ. And since I have added the oil instead of the egg, I will go ahead with the salt. I still may only do 2 pinches this time, so like maybe 1/2 teaspoon or even 1/4, because I don't want it to be too salty. I just want to know that I've put some salt in there to enhance the flavors. 1/2 teaspoon of your baking soda. Soda, this one's right. 1/2 teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon. Baking soda. And for this, you do want to level it off because you don't want too much of a good thing. Just kidding. You don't want too much of your leavening agent, otherwise you might have an explosion. And 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Baking powder. So you can use the same measuring device that you did before. 1.5 teaspoons. So this is 1/2 teaspoon. I need 3 of them. And 3. Ta-da! Get this folded in here. And you can use a fork like I am. You can use a pretty spatula. You can use whatever whisk or mixing device you want. Fork does well. Fork was already dirty from beating our egg. And 3/4 cup of sugar. You know, I think I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of white sugar and 2/4 cups, so 1/2 cup of brown sugar maybe to bring some depth to my bread. It's gonna have that molassesy flavor and it'll bring a different complexity to my dessert here. Bread, dessert, breakfast, treat. My snack, my deliciousness. Ooh, yikes. I'm gonna have to get brown sugar. 1 and 2. Da da da. Now we're cooking. Bake. Bake. Everybody's mixed up. Everybody's having a good time in the bowl. A wise man once said, everybody gets to know each other in the pot. Yeah, so this is what our batter is starting to look like. It's nice and brown from the brown sugar, no less. Very fragrant from the orange zest and the orange juice. I suppose if you wanted more orange zest, you could do 2 oranges, and then that would probably bring you to at least 1/2 cup of orange juice if you had the big oranges like the one that I had. Or you could just go the plain old route and only do orange juice that's from the bottle. Choice is up to you. I just happen to have an orange because I wanted an orange to go with my orange cranberry bread. Alright, let's get cracking on these cranberries. Now I used to use the box stuff. The cranberries are like dried and already done up there, and it's boring. So this is one of the first times that I'm actually making it from scratch. And I'm quite excited to see how it comes out. I think total, you're probably gonna want about a cup, and I probably should have measured them, but I'm just gonna eyeball it and say, yeah, that looks good. This is slightly tedious. I think this might be good. Okay. We've assembled our bread. Wow. That was fast. Even though the cranberry part felt the longest. Let's go ahead and get our cooking vessel ready. I will grab an assortment of things. I have a loaf tin and I've got muffin tins. So let's go ahead and get that. Be back. Our options are bread loaf or muffin tin. All right, tails is bread loaf, head is muffin tin. Survey says heads. Muffin tin. All right, that's okay. Once you get your muffin liners, now this you will want a spoon for, and I want to try to only fill them about halfway. I don't want to like fill them to the top or overfill them because then you'll have exploding muffins. Not like exploding kittens. I mean, you can't put a collar on your muffin so that it like knows which way the game is going. If you have an exploding muffin in your oven, it's gonna be a big mess. So fill it halfway and let's speed this up a little bit. This does look more like a muffin batter. Oh my goodness. This is so tasty and I haven't even put it in the oven. Man. All right, so survey says bake these for about 20 minutes. You're gonna wanna put a toothpick in them to make when you think they're done. And when that toothpick comes out, it should be clean. Can be 20 minutes, can be a little bit longer. It depends on your oven. So I've got my oven set to 400 degrees Fahrenheit instead of 350 because we know that I have a gas oven as opposed to electric. So that'll be 244 Celsius. So we'll go ahead and stick these in the oven for about that 20 minutes and then we'll take a peek, see how they are. That'll be just enough time for you to like and subscribe to Sweetly Savory if you haven't already done so. Please follow me on Instagram, Sweetly_Savory, and you can find that little link down in my description as well. And I hope that you're enjoying this video as much as I enjoy making it. I'm just kind of throwing this recipe together because I have these ingredients and I wanted to share it with you. And that's the majority of my baking and cooking at home. I just kind of throw it together. And I know that I usually follow a recipe for the video, but this is truly how I do it. So I hope you're enjoying. Let's see how it turns out. So it's actually been about half an hour maybe, I want to say, because they didn't look too done at 20 minutes. I didn't want to take them out and poke them and have them be completely raw. So I'm going to take my trusty meat thermometer that I use as my baking instrument. And now they are done. So they didn't puff up the way that I thought they would, but you know, I realized that my oat flour wasn't as finely ground as you would buy it at the store. You can definitely make it that way. I left it a little bit chunkier for some reason. I might have been too excited to get started. So these are our muffins. They look quite spectacular and they smell really stinking good. Oh my goodness. I'm really excited to eat these. So maybe before I get going on my next batch in the oven, let's give these a little taste. This is really good. Oh yeah. I'm sure once they're cooled, they're not gonna come out kind of too skinny like this, but I just can't wait. I've been thinking about these. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. That's really good. Wow. Super flavorful with the orange juice and that orange that we squeezed out and the zest. Just that little bit of zest. The extra pop. And the fresh whole cranberries that I just had. No need to like bang them up or anything fancy. Just slice them. I mean, you get that sweet and that tart together. And then using the brown sugar with the white sugar, just a little bit of white sugar to offset all the sweetness of the molassesy brown sugar. That really brings a different kind of complexity to your muffin. Or if you want to make this into a bread. Wow. And the texture with the oats, that's bang on. I'm super proud of myself. These are really delicious. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you really want to make these at home yourself. Please, if you've enjoyed it yourself, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like it down at the bottom in the description there. Make sure to subscribe to Sweetly Savory so you can keep watching all the cool stuff that I'm gonna make. Make sure to hit bell for notifications so that you know when the latest and greatest of Sweetly Savory is gonna be released. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.